What's up guys, I'm back once again to show you some of the best mods of the week. Now in my time on YouTube, I really haven't reviewed too many settlement mods, but today we're going to be adding to that count with the first mod of today's video, and that mod is Concord Outpost Settlement. And as you can probably imagine, you can find this settlement just slightly east of Concord. Now you can find the workshop for this settlement inside of one of the giant yellow containers. Now just make sure you kill all of the nearby enemies, and I definitely didn't use the console command kill all to do this. Anyway, after activating the workbench, I quickly tried to slap down a recruitment beacon. Whilst I waited for some settlers to turn up, I decided to put down some turrets to defend the new settlement. Now with my very limited time with this mod, I've noticed that some items can be scrapped and some can't. I'm not sure if this is an issue with the mod or a limitation in mod making or just a bug, but either way, it's an observation that I had to mention. So, this mod isn't perfect, but what is? Anyway, one feature that I do like is the ability to fast travel straight to the location. Now, the next mod I have for you is Scarlet, a fully voiced companion, and of course, she can be found in a building just behind Fort Hagen, but be warned, you will need to get past an expert lock. After entering the building, I noticed that things were particularly dark, and I also proceeded to get myself lost more than once. But after a little while, I managed to find my way into the lower levels. Here, I was ambushed by a bunch of ghouls, but after dealing with those, and continuing to look even deeper into the rooms, I eventually found Scarlet.
Hi. My master sent me to find the best fighter in the world. You made it this far. That means you have potential. Let me fight by your side, and I'll make sure that this partnership is worth your while.
So, as you can see, Scarlet really isn't interested in being friends. She's just looking for, as she says, the best fighter in the world. Also, Scarlet is not the most patient companion there is.
What are you waiting for? My patience is not unlimited. Let's leave.
This being said, she may not be patient, but she sure is strong, and can definitely hold herself in a fight. And this is because Scarlet is primarily aimed at endgame players, which is where I spend most of my time. Also, she has infinite ammo, which kind of defeats the point of having a melee companion, but still, it's an option that's there. And speaking of options, Scarlet also has her own affinity system, her preferences being mostly evil, and preferring to deal with her problems directly. Now, as someone who plays mostly good or neutral characters, this left me with very limited options, but fortunately, killing your enemies whilst naked will boost Scarlet's affinity. And just like vanilla companions, when you have made enough affinity with Scarlet, she will want to talk to you and explain various things about herself.
I told you that at some point I would be willing to answer all of your questions. Now that you've proved yourself worthy, that time is now.
These include where she came from.
I come from a world called Outworld, and there they call you humans Earthrealmers.
Who she is.
On the outside, I look like a normal woman, but I was created with the help of dark magic by my master Shao Kahn.
And who her master is.
Who is your master?
A man with almost godlike power. He rules unchallenged in the world I come from. He gave himself the name Shao Kahn, and I serve him.
Anyway, Scarlet has a lot of lines of dialogue, and to put them all into this video would make this unnecessarily long. So if you're interested in finding more about her, I would definitely recommend downloading this mod. Now, upon reaching max affinity with Scarlet, she will spill even more information about herself, her master, and what she hopes to accomplish now that she is on Earth. You will also have your last speech check to romance Scarlet.
How do you feel about us?
I already told you. We should form a strong bond. Then no one can ever stop us.
And upon reaching max affinity, you will unlock the Bloody Rain perk. This will give you increased damage with two-handed melee weapons. Now, even though there is a number of speech checks to romance Scarlet, you can't actually romance Scarlet. This is because, as the mod author describes, Scarlet is completely selfish and has no interest in you apart from you just being a tool. And having used this mod for a while, I absolutely agree. Overall though, I absolutely love this mod. The amount of detail and time and effort that has clearly gone into this mod has not gone unnoticed. Everything from Scarlet having her own interior cell, having a spare mask and weapon, and even the voice acting of Scarlet herself is absolutely amazing. Now, I may not be a mod maker, but even I can imagine that making a companion mod is not the easiest thing in the world, but this mod does not disappoint. Anyway, I think we've spent enough time talking about this one. On to the next mod. Now, I think it's pretty fair to say that the Broadsider and the Harpoon gun are two very interesting weapons that weren't executed particularly well, but we're going to be fixing this issue with Cannons Extended, Broadsider and Harpoon gun Overhaul. Now, out of all the weapons in the game, I'd say that these two are pretty slept on, and I can see why. Nobody really uses them, unironically. But now, with this mod, that could be about to change. Now, your standard Broadsider only really has a couple of upgrades, but now it has 3 barrels, 2 grips, 2 canisters, and finally, 3 kinds of projectile. And of course, the Harpoon gun now has 5 types of projectile, 3 sights, and of course a scope. So as you can see, both weapons have more upgrades and more options. Personally, I like the explosive projectiles as it takes a lot of emphasis off of my aim. Also, it makes it super satisfying yet super easy to actually kill your enemies. And of course, this week's weapon mod is the Fallout London Luger. Now, I'm not sure if Fallout London is actually out yet, or even if it has a release date, but still, that's not going to stop us from taking a look at some of the assets that we can expect. Anyway, to acquire this weapon for yourself, it will begin to start spawning on gunners after level 15, or you can purchase it from any suitable vendor. And in terms of upgrades, you have the choice of 9 receivers, 4 barrels, 2 grips, 4 magazines, 2 sights, 2 muzzles including none, and finally 6 damage options to balance the weapon. So as you can see, this weapon has quite a good amount of customization, but more importantly, this gun is actually really fun to use. A lot of weapon mods that I've downloaded have a lot of customization but aren't particularly interesting or fun to use. This mod, however, is different. Also, a lot of weapon mods try to do something new or interesting to make their mod stick out from the rest. I mean, I have nothing against this, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. This weapon, however, just focuses on being a really good weapon mod. For example, look at the way that everything moves as I fire rounds. This is real attention to detail, and it's detail that you can only really appreciate when you slow your game down to 10% speed. And the good animations don't just stop at the firing ones. Check out this reload animation for example. My favourite thing about it though is the fact that my character is sticking his pinky out. The attention to detail on these animations is absolutely fantastic, and if this is how much care is going into simple animations, then I can't wait to see just how good Fallout London is going to be. Anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this mod, and the video for that matter. I hope you all enjoyed the mods here today, and if you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you all in the next video.